Oh my God, I don't want anything. I'm not gonna be okay.
Dakota Johnson's bangs aren't just a fashion choice. They're actually her psychological armor against a childhood trauma that happened when she was just 8 years old.
It was a little bit traumatizing that day.
How? What do you mean? How was it traumatizing?
And by the end of this video, you'll understand why she will never, ever get rid of them. You know how some celebrities change their look constantly? New hair colors, different styles, bold cuts that make headlines? Well, Dakota Johnson has kept the exact same bangs for over 15 years. Same length, same style, same everything. And there's a deeply personal reason behind this that most people have no idea about. This isn't just about looking good. This is about survival in Hollywood, generational trauma, and how one embarrassing moment can literally shape your entire identity. So here's what happened. Picture this. It's 1999. Dakota Johnson is 8 years old, and she's doing a commercial shoot. Not just any commercial, though. This was a Got Milk commercial featuring her mom, Melanie Griffith, and her baby sister, Stella. Sounds like a cute family moment, right? Well, it turned into something that would haunt Dakota for the rest of her life. During the shoot, the studio lights were incredibly bright and harsh. They were reflecting off Dakota's forehead so intensely that it was creating this really unflattering glare. The lighting was so bad that her own mother, Melanie Griffith, instinctively placed her hand over Dakota's forehead during the shoot to minimize the reflection and make her forehead appear smaller.
My forehead is so big, and the lights from the photo shoot were reflecting off of my forehead, so my mom was covering it with her hand to make it look smaller.
Now, imagine being 8 years old and having your mom cover your forehead with her hand in front of an entire film crew. Your mom is basically telling everyone in that room, the photographers, the directors, the assistants, that your forehead is so problematically large that it needs to be hidden. That's not just embarrassing, that's traumatizing for a little kid. Dakota later said in interviews, "I have a really large forehead and it was way bigger and really awkward. The proportions of my face was really little down here, but then the rest of my head was just forehead."
That's why I have bangs.
Think about that for a second. A single moment when she was 8 years old convinced her that her forehead was her biggest flaw. And instead of growing out of this insecurity like most kids do, she turned it into her signature look that she's never changed. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dakota's bang obsession isn't just about her own trauma. It's actually part of a 3-generation pattern of strategic beauty choices in her Hollywood dynasty. And when you understand this pattern, Dakota's decision makes perfect sense. Let's start with her grandmother, the legendary Tippi Hedren. Tippi was Alfred Hitchcock's blonde bombshell in movies like The Birds, back in 1963. She was known for her perfectly styled hair that always had these strategic face-framing elements. But Tippi's relationship with her hair wasn't just about looking good, it was about survival. See, Hitchcock was allegedly obsessed with controlling every aspect of Tippi's appearance and career. He would dictate exactly how she should look, what she should wear, and how she should style her hair. When Tippi tried to break free from his control, Hitchcock actually tried to destroy her career out of spite. But Tippi survived by learning how to use her image as a form of protection and power.
It is the worst thing to be the object of someone's obsession if you're not interested.
Then there's Dakota's mom, Melanie Griffith. Melanie also understood the strategic value of hair in Hollywood image management. Throughout her career, Melanie has used different hairstyles to reinvent herself and maintain relevance in an industry that's brutal to aging women. So Dakota grew up in a family where hair wasn't just hair, it was armor. It was strategy. It was survival. The women in her family learned that controlling your image could literally save your career. Now, Dakota's longtime hairstylist, Mark Townsend, who's been working with her since 2013, reveals something fascinating about her psychology. He says, bangs work really well with Dakota's face shape and with her personality. She knows she can spend 5 minutes blow-drying her bangs and leave the rest of her hair natural. But notice what he said there, with her personality. He's not just talking about her face shape, he's talking about her psychological need for efficiency and control. Dakota has found a way to maintain perfect image control with minimal daily effort. That's not accidental, that's calculated. Recent psychological research shows that bangs function as more than just style choices. They literally serve as psychological shields. According to beauty psychologists, bangs accentuate the eyes, which we consider to be the windows to one's soul, while simultaneously covering perceived flaws like forehead lines or proportional concerns. For someone like Dakota, who developed forehead consciousness at age 8, Bangs became a permanent solution to a deeply rooted insecurity. But here's the crazy part, it might not even be a real problem. Professional facial analysis shows that Dakota actually has what's called a heart-shaped face, wider at the top and narrower at the bottom with high cheekbones. This face shape actually benefits significantly from bang coverage because it balances the proportional relationship between her forehead and the rest of her features. But when facial analysis tools rate Dakota's overall facial harmony, she scores really high. This suggests that her forehead problem might be more psychological than physical. Her forehead insecurity could be more about childhood conditioning than actual disproportionality. This is actually super common. Early traumatic experiences can create lasting self-perception issues even when objective analysis suggests the concern is completely unfounded. Dakota's brain got wired at age 8 to believe her forehead was problematic, and no amount of logical analysis can undo that emotional programming. The level of commitment required to maintain Dakota's bangs reveals just how deep this psychological attachment goes. Mark Townsend explains, "I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a text from Dakota just saying, 'Meet me somewhere so I can get a bang trim very quickly.'" Think about that. Dakota Johnson, a millionaire actress with a packed schedule, will drop everything to get an emergency bang trim. Bangs require professional maintenance every 2 to 3 weeks to keep their shape, making them one of the highest maintenance hairstyle choices possible. This maintenance commitment suggests that Dakota's bangs serve a function way beyond aesthetics. They're a security blanket she's unwilling to abandon, even temporarily. The psychological comfort provided by consistent forehead coverage outweighs the considerable inconvenience of constant professional maintenance. And it's not just about hiding her forehead anymore. Dakota's bangs have actually created an unexpected career advantage. In Hollywood, where image consistency can be as valuable as acting talent, her signature look has become part of her brand identity. Think about it. When you see Dakota Johnson in a movie or on a red carpet, you immediately recognize her because of those bangs. She's created a visual trademark that makes her instantly identifiable in a sea of constantly changing celebrity looks. The bangs also serve a practical purpose on film sets and photography shoots, the same lighting problem that emerged during her childhood milk commercial. By maintaining consistent forehead coverage, she ensures that lighting directors don't need to make special accommodations, and photographers don't need to worry about unflattering forehead reflections. But here's where it gets really fascinating from a psychological perspective. Dakota has essentially turned her greatest insecurity into her greatest strength. Instead of trying to fix her perceived flaw through surgery or other interventions, she embraced it and made it work for her. This is actually a masterclass in psychological resilience. Rather than fighting against what she believed was her imperfection, she found a way to make peace with it and even profit from it. Her bangs have become so iconic that Pinterest searches for Dakota Johnson bangs generate millions of results. Celebrity hairstylists report that her specific bang style is one of the most requested looks they get. Women all over the world are asking their stylists to give them Dakota Johnson bangs. She's literally turned her childhood trauma into a beauty trend that influences millions of people. But here's the most mind-blowing part of this whole story. Remember how I mentioned that facial analysis suggests Dakota's forehead concerns might be unfounded? Well, there's actually evidence that her bangs might be creating the very problem they're meant to solve. Think about it. When you constantly hide a part of your body, you never learn to see it as normal or beautiful. Dakota has been covering her forehead for so long that she's never had the chance to develop a healthy relationship with that part of her face. But the psychological protection her bangs provide is so deep that changing now would probably feel like walking around naked. This is what makes Dakota's story so relatable and so tragic at the same time. We all have parts of ourselves that we hide because of things that happened when we were kids. Maybe it's not our forehead, maybe it's our laugh, or our voice, or the way we walk. But we all carry these invisible shields that protect us from the world while also limiting how fully we can show up as ourselves. Dakota's bangs represent something universal about human psychology, how we adapt to early wounds, how we create safety in an unsafe world, and how sometimes our greatest protections become our greatest limitations. So Dakota Johnson's perpetual bangs aren't just a hairstyle preference. They're a masterclass in turning childhood insecurity into strategic advantage, family trauma into protective wisdom, and perceived flaws into signature style. Her story reveals how the most successful approaches to managing appearance-based anxiety often involve embracing and working with our perceived imperfections rather than fighting against them. She took what she thought was her biggest flaw and made it her most recognizable feature. but it also shows us how deeply childhood experiences can shape our adult lives. That 8-year-old girl who felt embarrassed about her forehead is still there, still being protected by those bangs. The truth is, Dakota Johnson will probably never get rid of her bangs. They're not just hair to her. They're psychological armor that's been protecting her for over 15 years. And honestly, after building an entire career and brand around this look, why would she change? Her bangs have become part of who she is, both as a person and as a public figure. They've turned a childhood wound into a signature strength. And that's actually pretty incredible when you think about it. And at the end, I want to say, I love Dakota. She's the best. Subscribe for more untold celebrity psychology stories that'll change how you see Hollywood forever. And tap on the video card to watch Dakota's relationship timeline.